Hello.
Hey, girl.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Angela Lugo-Thomas.
Happy Sunday. Hola.
We're going to give you a formal introduction in a second. It's coming.
Yes.
But I want to know how everyone is doing today.
So I'm doing well. I've been sneezing because I'm allergic to lilies. And so I know that. And yet I still brought lilies into the house. And the pollen shook all over the table. And I've been sneezing ever since. So
Oh,
it's
no.
been all bad today.
Oh, they're so pretty too. You just got to admire them from afar.
I
Yeah.
do, and that's why I hate it because when I go to pick up a bouquet that have lilies in it, sometimes I'll take them out and put them in somebody else's bouquet so they can have extras. But then sometimes I'm like, I deserve this beauty.
Right.
You
Because
know
they're
what I'm
so
Okay.
saying?
beautiful.
Do
But
you
I,
deserve to sneeze too?
I don't deserve that
Okay,
part.
there's your answer.
Okay, you got a point.
Okay. Angie, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's a beautiful Sunday. I was actually in the garden this morning. And then yesterday I celebrated my 22nd wedding anniversary. So it's been a great
Happy
weekend.
Happy
anniversary.
Thank
anniversary. I remember
you.
that day. It was beautiful. That Henry Ford.
Estate, yeah.
Yes, the Henry Ford estate. It was a beautiful
Dearborn.
day.
Yeah.
22 years.
I know.
Oh my
A
goodness.
lifetime. We've known each other since we were 10 and 11. So it's kind of, it's been longer than that we've been friends, but 22 years married.
Married, right. Oh
Aww.
my goodness. That was a beautiful wedding. And offline, I'll have to tell you how it was like what Ken just delivered one of the most funniest lines at the meeting.
Yeah, you have to tell me about that.
I'm like, Ken, she was so inappropriate. But anyway, anyway, I'm doing pretty good. So like I said before you even came on, I'm just cannot wait to take a little nap when this day is over.
I know.
Well, this podcast is over, but I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have. So before we get started, just know that we're going to talk to Angie about gardening and Planet Detroit. But before we go there, I just have a question. What do you guys really like to do for fun? Angie, you could go first because you're our guest.
Oh, so many things. I most of the time I just like to get away from home and from, just the stresses of life. So the most I guess the most fun thing I like to do is go walking in nature. And then the second closest thing for fun I do is I dance. I've danced my pretty much
Yes.
my whole
My
life,
life.
but I do now bomba dancing, which is Puerto Rican folkloric dance. So it kind of keeps me connected to my roots. So that's what I do for fun.
Oh, I remember you. You're a dancer, like for real dancer, not just like twerking or
No, none of that.
Sometimes when people hear like dancer, they be like, "Oh,
Right,
what club she at?"
right. Mm-mm,
No,
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 we
no.
talking ballet,
Like a
African
professional dancer.
dance, modern
Yes,
dance. Yes, that
yes,
real training.
yes. I know
Well,
the real training. And one of Angie's favorite dances I want her to do like all the time is "I Can Feel It Coming in the Air" by Phil Collins.
Oh, yes,
oh.
Every
that
time it was an
song.
opportunity
I
for her to dance.
still. Mm,
Every time it's an opportunity for Angie, I'm like, Angie, can you do I Can Feel It Coming in the Air? Can you do that one again? Because it's like that
right.
beat that just
It's
sucks
the
you in.
beat. Yes, but then
But when
don't
that beat
forget.
drop, it's hard.
Yes,
And
but
you have to see, do you have that recorded somewhere, Angie?
I do not. Do you believe that? I
I
do
don't.
not. I just like I don't have the Jennifer Hudson. No, what's it with the holiday?
Holiday? Holiday?
The yes, that song. Remember I did that dance? I don't have that
Yes.
recorded either.
Somebody needs to be recording these things so we can experience them.
Yes, Keela, because it's an experience. Both of those dances were awesome. Keela, what do you do for fun?
Okay, so I like to do a number of things like her. Unlike her, I love to dance, but I cannot. Okay, so I know a lot of people think that it's some myth that all black people can dance, and it is not true. I'm here to let you know that it is not true. I can stay on beat, but I do not have rhythm, if that makes sense. Um, I love to read. I love music. Um, I love, we talked about it. I love hiking. I love to go to the trails. Those are my favorite things that kind of get my mind relaxed and make me feel rejuvenated. I know
Mhm.
they may not be fun to other people, but I enjoy those things.
Yeah,
So that's
And
what
that's
I
all
like.
that matters.
that
Right.
is all that matters. All that matters. What's fun for me is any
Yes.
time that I don't have to multitask.
Woo.
Well, when is that?
I
I
know,
know.
I know, I know. Like if I'm sitting down watching TV, it's like, oh, I could be answering emails at the same time.
Yeah, and so we've got to get better at that,
We
right?
do. The only
Definitely.
time that I do not multitask is when I'm reading a good book because it's hard to read. You
Mm,
can't read and do something else.
Right.
So I would say what I do for fun is definitely reading.
Reading is
I
good.
yes.
can just pick up
Yeah.
anything and
And
read.
I need to do more reading.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
love it.
and I enjoy riding in the car too by
Oh
myself to
yes.
places too because that's when I get a
Yes.
lot of things done as well. I'm not liking how I'm looking under this.
Okay, so she say riding in a car by herself. Tanya has
Yes.
5 children.
Right.
So she, like, a car ride to her is
It's a
like
vacation.
it's a vacation.
It is a vacation. It is, and it doesn't happen. So today, all three of the cars are going to the same place. Well, Kevin, my husband, left us because he likes the on time for him is 40 minutes early. So
Okay.
he left us, and then the girls and I was still getting ready. And so I'm thinking, oh, good, all the five kids, they're gonna ride together. So I come out the shower, I'm all excited, and I hear movement. I'm like, who's
Who's
there?
home? Right.
It was little Kevin. He was like, Mom, I'm waiting for you. I was like, you really didn't have to do that.
Oh.
And then I'm like,
I
who's with
love
you?
it.
Who's that? He was like, it's Cohen. So I'm like, so both you guys waited for me. That is so
Oh.
sweet. But in my head, I was
I
like,
know you're like,
I
but I
was so
wanted that
looking
moment.
forward to this car ride.
Oh.
I was.
So we're gonna be talking about some good gardening stuff.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Yes.
excited.
I'm excited too.
Yes.
So before we do that, before we introduce Angie, I just need to know where are we going today, ladies?
Oh, the DJ didn't set up, y'all.
Oh,
Okay,
set it up,
now
DJ.
ask me.
Okay. Where are we going today?
We're going all the way
All the way
there.
there.
Over the
All
way
the way
there.
there.
All the way there.
Where are we going today? All the way there.
Hey
Okay, I'm
there.
excited to take spring pictures or summer pictures soon. If we don't hurry
Yes.
up, it's going to be fall.
Right.
Yeah, we have to.
But yeah, real soon, real soon. Okay, so we have Angela Lugo-Thomas, also known as Angie, with us today.
Hello, Angela.
Angie is lovingly called the Detroit Puerto Rican, but please say it for me.
Detroit Boricua.
Boricua. And just sing the
Boricua.
song again.
Say it again.
Boricua.
Boricua, Morena, Boricua. That
That was
song,
the song.
everybody didn't know what it was they were saying, but
That
that's
was
what they
the
were
song.
saying.
Look, we rehearsed this before we even got to this point, and I heard that song before. I never knew what they were saying, but I know it's Puerto Rican, so
Yeah.
that's what Angie is known as. She has a Puerto Rican heart with a Detroit soul, and
Mhm.
that is for sure. Because you were born and raised in Puerto Rico, but when did you come here?
So I
So
moved to Detroit in 1979. I was
okay,
six and a half years old.
yeah. And how often do you get to go visit home?
Not as much as I want to. Well, it's a long story. That's a whole nother show too. But I didn't go back for 10 years. So but when I went back to Puerto Rico, I was 16 years old.
Hmm.
And I reconnected with my family there. And then I was going pretty much yearly after that until of course I had kids and a family and things changed and
Hmm.
then I stopped working. I became a left the workforce. So, when you don't have money to travel, you don't travel, even
I
Right.
home.
know.
So,
Right.
but the last time I was there was actually December of 2019, right before the world changed. So I was
Yeah.
glad that we were able to go as a family. It had years,
Uh-oh.
but the family hadn't been in more than 10 years. So
Okay.
Wow, wow. So right now, Angela currently resides in Highland Park, with her hubby of 22 years, but they've been knowing each other since they
Yeah.
were 10, since Bates Academy, right? And three beautiful
Yes.
daughters
Yes.
right over in Highland Park, making a difference in
Yes.
that community. So it's like Angie is like one of those jack of all
Trying.
spades. You ask, I don't see how
Right.
she has time to do everything that she does, and she does everything so well. So you're like girls track, which is like the girls walking, women walking like everywhere in the blue
Right. So,
t-shirts.
yeah.
Go ahead, tell us
Oh,
about.
I
Yes. Girl Trek.
love. I'm in girl trek too.
Oh, right. Yeah. So Girl Trek is a national organization and it's for Black women to take back their health by walking. But we don't just walk. I mean, when women walk, things change. So we do a lot of things in our community as well. And we have a lot of initiatives. And one of them actually is gardening. We have a Girl Trek Gardeners group now that was launched in 2020. And Girl Trek Detroit, which is one of the largest chapters, was actually instrumental in kind of spearheading that whole initiative with Girl Trek. So gardening is now a part of Girl Trek. It's because food and health
Wow,
kind of go hand in hand.
that's awesome. Wow, Angie.
That
And
is
you are a
awesome.
photographer because I cannot remember a day where you did not have that camera, even
I
back
know.
when we were at Michigan State
In at
together,
Michigan State, yeah,
pulling
and
that
at
camera
Cass,
out.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure you could be rich just from us paying you hush money from the pictures that you probably have.
No, well, I don't have that many. I was very good. I didn't try to take those kind of pictures, but
I know. Thank God. You're a community organizer, which you kind of briefly discussed.
yeah,
Are
in
you still a
Highland Park
Mocha
mainly.
Moms? Are you still a Mocha
Well,
Mom? Do they still do that?
no, no, they still have Mocha Moms. It's still a chapter here in the Detroit area, but I'm not officially a part of it. But we have what we call a Detroit Mocha Mom alumni group that we still get
Oh,
together.
I need to be in that. I used to be in Mocha Moms. That used to be so
Okay.
nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So we
miss
kind of
those
like,
days.
our children are much older than most of the Mocha moms
Yeah.
that are, more active. So, but we still get together and we have excels and we go travel out of town or get together in people's backyards. And so we, go to parks and just chit chat, but it'd be, just us. It don't be the kids, just us.
that's beautiful. And then it leads me to um, one of your top two passions. We're going to talk about Planet Detroit in a little bit, but now we
Hmm.
want to talk about you and gardening. Like,
Yes.
you're like the consummate gardener. How did that start for you?
So it's so funny because people assume, oh, I've gardened my whole life, my
It
family,
kind of
all
seems
that.
like it. Hmm.
It does seem like that, but I actually got into this 14 years ago. It hasn't really been that long. Some of the people that are in the gardening program have generations of stories of gardening, that, they can pull back memories of. And being from Puerto Rico, I always assumed that food was grown in warm climates because in our backyard in Puerto Rico, we had everything growing. I mean, mangoes, avocados, passion fruit, banana, cherry, all kind of herbs. But I thought that's normal because it's, tropical. So I had no idea that Detroit did urban gardening. I had no clue. I felt like it was like one of those best kept secrets because then I find out that really urban gardening got started in Detroit. And that was like way back
Wow.
when they had the ribbon farms down by the water. So it's
Hmm.
been here for a long time. And Black people, of course, because they migrated from the South, they were the farmers and gardeners. So they always grew food. But it wasn't until I was pregnant with my last child in 2008 and I saw them, no, it was 2007. I saw them building a community garden around the corner from me. And again, didn't know what they were doing. So I just happened to stop in there and I was like, what are you all doing? They were like, we're building a community garden. I was like, oh, that's cute. I'm thinking, oh, that's nice. And then I went in like a few months later, started seeing the stuff growing. Then, like that summer, the tomatoes, I was like, okay. I walk in, I say, I'm gonna pick some tomatoes. I was allergic now, mind you. I thought I was allergic to tomatoes my entire life. Could not eat them from the store or the restaurant. Would always pick them out of stuff. I got some tomatoes. I said, I'm gonna get some for my husband. I came home, I washed them. First of all, they didn't look like nothing I had ever seen before, right? So I was like, that's not like the normal tomatoes I've seen. Got home, washed them. I took a knife and I sliced them, and I was like, "This is not a tomato that I've seen in a restaurant or store. It looked completely different." And then
Wow.
I had a sample of it, and I was sold. I was like, "How do I learn to do this?" And literally 2 months later, I was in my first garden class.
Wow.
Just like that. And I wasn't allergic to tomatoes. What I was allergic to is the pesticides that they spray the tomatoes to turn them red. So I had a sensitivity to that, and I thought it was the tomatoes all my life.
Isn't that
Right.
interesting though when people grow things themselves? I remember the first time my aunt sent me some lemons from California, and I'm like, what is this? Ain't no lemon. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this? It's the orange. You know what I'm saying? It's just a yellow orange. But things are so different when they're naturally grown. I guess when they
Yes.
mass produce,
Yes.
it
It's
changes
completely
everything.
different. Celery is
Yeah.
another one that really shocked me. The first time I grew celery and had it, I said, "This is not celery. This is
Right.
not what we get in the store. You literally only need like two of those little stalks, and
Right.
you're set. You don't
Yep.
need the whole thing."
You're right. It's
But
amazing.
it is amazing. So that's
So
how I got started.
when you got started, so you okay, so I'm hearing the first thing you planted was tomatoes.
Well, when I finished that urban, it was called Urban Roots. It's through Keep Growing Detroit.
Mhm.
So we have a large garden organization here that supports gardens in Detroit, Highland Park, and Hamtramck, and that's called Keep Growing Detroit. And they actually give you seeds, compost, transplants, classes. They even help build community gardens. So they gave me that first season. I grew like 4 different types of lettuce, probably 10 different varieties of tomatoes, maybe 4 different types of peppers, eggplant. I even grew asparagus, strawberries. So I had a whole little mini garden, but it was only like 4 tiny little beds. Very neat, I had my little garden. I thought I was doing, yeah, I was doing it. And now you wouldn't believe my yard. It's like if I can get rid of more grass, I probably would. I have
You
probably the
said,
equivalent of 20 beds now.
oh my
Wow.
goodness. So what did you
So
send us a picture of, Angie?
So that picture is probably the fourth or fifth year that we gardened. And that's on the side of my house. Now, mind you, I don't even garden in that area
now,
now.
am I sure? Because you sent me quite a few pictures. So, and I
Yeah.
don't have any type of order.
Yep.
So, I
It's the
have this
one. Yep,
picture.
that's it. That's
Okay.
it. Yep. So that's I mean, that's probably like 20 different things growing in that space. And as you can
Oh
see, it
my
doesn't
God.
take a lot of space to grow a lot of things. People often assume that you need like, a whole city lot or you
Hmm.
need acres of farmland to grow food. And it's actually not true. You can do a lot of things. I even grow in containers. That's probably one of my favorite ways to grow. And you can grow a lot in a small space, to feed yourself at least 3 to 4 months of the year.
So, what
Wow.
are the spiky things, Angela?
Right.
The ones over to the right,
Yes.
Yes.
that was the garlic. Yeah, that's
Okay.
garlic. I grew garlic. I grow garlic every year.
That
I don't.
is
That's
garlic.
Look,
garlic? I thought
look. I
those were
don't.
ferns.
And a lot, right? A lot of people mistake it either for corn or they say it's onions.
Right.
Yeah, they don't. It's a completely different leaf pattern. But garlics is like one of the easiest crops to grow in a garden. I don't even do anything to the garlic, and I grow it. I
Wow.
Wow.
just
That's
plant it.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the far back, were those collard greens or
Yep.
lettuce?
So I have collards, kale. So there are 2 different kinds of kale. There's collards. There's probably broccoli back there. It looks like possibly some tomatoes and squash. And I have some sweet peas in the front too. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
But you see it, and that's not even that much space when you think about it. And then, of course, once some things mature and you harvest, then you have space to do some other things in that
Okay.
what you take out. And that's what the garlic plant. I think I was showing you that the scape. So this is the garlic scape. So a lot of times people leave this on, and this is where the flower, so this is the flower part. When you're talking about the onions and people grow it for the
Yes.
flower. So this is where the flower would come. But this
Okay.
grows out of the middle part of the garlic plant. And once it gets this little loop part, this is the garlic scape. So you know how a green onion is like like a slight onion taste, and you can chop it up
Right.
and use it in all kind of stuff. This is what this is, but it's
Are you
garlic.
serious? So you
Wow.
And
can
it's
use
mild, like a mild
oh
garlic, and you can
child.
use it in so many things. But they only come once a year, because once the plant grows, that's it. They don't grow another one. So it's only
So
once
you
a
trying
year.
to tell me that I could have other parts of garlic instead of
Yes,
that's
you can have
amazing.
this part, and now you can go to farmers markets right now, and
Uh-huh.
this is a hot commodity. I'm telling
Okay.
you,
I can
people
imagine.
go to them, like where the garlic scapes, and they sell out at the table every
That's
Saturday at Easter
amazing.
market.
Wow.
Like they need
Wow.
more of these, and they only, like I said, they only here, like now. This is probably the last week that you'll be able to harvest them, and then they're done for the season. And then we won't have garlic scapes the next year. But the good thing is that they keep well in the refrigerator for like 3 to 4 months. And if you can even chop them and freeze them, and then you can use them later. Even longer, like 6 to 8 months.
See, and
It's my
that's
I never
favorite.
another
knew that.
thing I know when you home grow stuff or things are properly made at home, they preserve longer.
They
You
do.
know,
They
than
do now. And I would say it depends,
okay.
because what we grow, like our whole garden group grows without any use of any chemicals or
Hmm.
pesticides. We do that purposely because we want to control what we're consuming, what we're putting in our bodies.
Exactly.
So because of that, it does not last as long as the commercially
Okay.
grown stuff. So you do
Okay.
have to, when you harvest, you have to use it. And that's why I said either put it in the refrigerator for something like this, or you freeze it. But things like
Okay.
lettuce and herbs, you kind of have to use quickly, unless you're like the herbs, you can dry them and use them later. But
Okay.
lettuce, within 1 or 2 days, you got to eat it. Like it
So
won't
Okay.
last. Like how you can have lettuce from the store in the fridge for like a week or two, and sometimes it don't even turn brown.
Right.
mhm,
That'll tell you something.
that
Exactly.
speaks volumes. So
Yeah,
it's probably hard for you to have a
yeah.
salad
But
when you
look,
go
I
to a
got a bunch of
restaurant.
steak.
Oh
That
my
is so
goodness.
amazing.
Yes.
These are I harvested these this morning,
Oh,
Wow.
and when I tell you,
I'm gonna come and buy some of those from you.
you don't have to buy them. I'll give them to you. But listen, you can even make a pesto with this.
I was
So
thinking
how
about a
Ooh, I love
pesto. That's
pesto.
why
if
I
you have enough, yeah,
said, oh, that looks
you can
amazing.
make a
It
pesto.
does. So Angie, okay, silly question. How hard is it for you to eat a salad now when you go to a restaurant? Oh no. Can you
Can't do
hear me?
it.
You
I
don't?
can't do it.
You can't do
I
it.
try. I try to do it. I can't. It's hard. I do it if I know. Like sometimes I go to restaurants specifically because I know that they source from the local farms. You know what I'm
Okay.
Mhm.
saying? Like if I see a salad, that they bring out, like I've gone to restaurants where I'm like, I can't even do like iceberg lettuce.
Oh, I
That's like
can't
no,
do
you might
Yeah.
as well
iceberg
just throw it
either.
out, right? But even if they bring me a salad that, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk about bag salads, but even bag salads I can't do because it has this taste to me, like this weird aftertaste. So it has to be freshly picked salad for me to really, really want to have it at a restaurant.
But
I
and
almost,
that's
if even if they
amazing.
bring it out, I almost never eat it.
It's amazing because once you taste the naturally grown, and this is even like my mom, her and my dad will go salmon fishing. And
Mm.
to taste fresh salmon compared to the store, there is no comparison. So when
Mm-mm.
somebody tastes my mother's salmon, like, well, what's the difference? Oh my God, it's so good. Like, I don't, what did she do to this? It's fresh. Like, it tastes
Mm-hmm.
absolutely nothing like what you
Yeah,
buy from the grocery store.
Wow.
It's just
exactly.
crazy.
Nothing.
So
Yeah, and
okay,
that's how
Angie.
it is with anything.
So it's June 26th. If I wanted to start a garden like
Hmm.
now, is this a good season to start a garden? Not that I'm going to do it because I don't like outside. But if is this a good season to start, or is it like a best time of year, or what would be
I'm
best
breaking. I
for
think
this
you're breaking
time?
up.
Uh oh,
Are you still there?
I'm still here. Yes, can you?
Whatever it said too is that's a pretty good point.
Okay, I think you're clear now.
Okay, can you hear me
Oh,
now, Angie? Can you hear me now? Okay, so while we're waiting, Angie, let me
Okay,
know when you can
I
hear
think it
us.
reset. Did it reset?
It must have. Okay, so what? Like, if someone wanted to start gardening tomorrow, what would be the best? What would be your advice for them?
You're still getting up, but I don't know if you can hear me. I think you were asking if this a good time to start gardening this time of the
Yes.
year, June
Hmm.
26th, this late. Okay, so typically the your spring gardens here in Michigan, that's the other part. So Michigan, of course, has a shorter growing season just because of our weather. So typically for Michigan, we would start like our first like outside seeds or transplants possibly in mid to late March. Some things can tolerate what we call cold crops, can tolerate the cold that we have in those that time of the year. As far as starting something now, it would be kind of too late for some things. It all depends on what size the transplant is, how mature it is, um and then also how much time. So I'll give you an example. I have actually have seed packets here. So there's these are actually packaged by Keep Going Detroit, and then you'll see some like this that you'll see in the store, that tell you like what it is, and then on the back is all of the information about what you got. So basically, you look at it, you say, okay, this is the type of sunflower. One thing that you have to learn is the stuff that we see like at the store, that's only one variety of it. It's like hundreds of varieties of sunflowers, right?
That is
So
tripped me out
ain't
because
that the truth?
sunflower is my favorite flower,
I
right?
think it's only one type. One
No,
type.
Oh
some
no,
so I know that there were many types because it's my favorite
right.
flower. But
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna
But
tell
I'm
you,
talking about for everything:
yes, it's
cucumbers, tomatoes,
oh,
peppers. It's thousands,
and
I
you
mean
know
hundreds of
it's
varieties.
only normally English and regular cucumber. You don't see all the other ones. And
No,
then when you
not
go
at
to
You
all.
other
see all
stores,
the
you're like, what is
Not at
this?
all.
yeah.
You know, yeah.
When you go to ethnic markets, you
Yeah,
see
right.
sometimes some different produce. But
Yes.
with the seed packet tells you pretty much all the information you need to know whether or
Okay.
not it's good for that climate. Because you have to also look to see what climate we're in. Will that seed grow here? Will that plant grow here? Because there's some that we just cannot get. That's why when you go travel, you'll see different varieties of things because they can grow it in that region. So there are certain things that we're just not going to be able to grow unless, of course, you have a greenhouse, which allows you to do some more like tropical type, more heat plants. But it'll also tell you when to plant. So it'll tell you, can you plant it before the frost or after the frost? It'll tell you how many days to maturity. So if it's like 30 days, you can still plant that now. If it's
Hmm.
90 to 120 days, you're going to be pressing your luck at this point. But there are things that you can plant. Like, for example, for the gardening for us, we have cold crops in the spring. We got hot crops, right? Like mid May, late May. So those are things that produce a fruit like eggplants, all the tomatoes, the peppers, squash, zucchini, all those things that actually produce. We call it a fruit when it produces something. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a fruit. Um, but then in the like about 2 more weeks, we're going to get another distribution of what they call cold crops or fall crops. That those are things that will grow again. That are frost tolerant, that can take a little bit more of the cooler temperatures. Like those are like things like collards, all the kales, some of the herbs, some of the lettuces. So those things, yes, you can still plant those things. You can even seed those things now. There's people still putting in seeds of carrots and putting in seeds of different types of lettuce, and radishes are really quick things. Beets are really quick things. So those things you can still plant. There's a lot that you can still plant. You just have to really follow the seed packet or know about that transplant. And then you can plant it. Tomatoes and peppers, it might be hard, but like jalapeno peppers may not be as hard as bell peppers. Bell peppers going to get a little bit bigger. Jalapenos will get small. You might still be able to get a harvest of those.
So what do you do with all this stuff, Angie? You just are you
So,
giving it away or Pat? What are you
yeah,
doing? Because that's a lot.
I
Unless you have
know.
like 5 refrigerators. I don't
And
know.
it's so funny because we were just talking about this because some people, I get real irritated because some people grow just to see it grow. And I'm like, what a waste. Like I'm really bad. Like I try not to waste food. Like I'm like, food waste is such a problem in our community. And there's so many people that are hungry that it makes no sense for you to do that. But there are
Mhm.
some people who are like that. They just, for whatever reason, they just like to see the mint grow. They never harvest it. They just see it, and then like they just go and toss it in either the compost or the trash. I personally always usually give my stuff away. There's no way you can consume all of this. I try now to do more things like freeze, like dry, preserve, I infuse things with my, stuff. So I try to do more things with, that took years. So I didn't do that in the very beginning. But now I try to like step it up and do some different things. But the beauty of it is that now with so many, we have over 1,800 gardens in the Keep Going Detroit program here in our area,
Wow.
and we have relationships
Wow.
with food pantries. So food
Oh,
pantries is a great way
nice.
for us to donate all our excess, and they'll take even a little pint of tomatoes. Like you don't have to give them a whole. People think, oh, you got to bring boxes and boxes of stuff. They're fresh
They
things.
take whatever.
They'll take whatever because they will find someone that wants it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
Mm.
there's also a lot of the like the soup kitchens that do. There's one that's right by Indian Village. They actually take any excess, like if you have stuff in your pantry that maybe a little outdated, maybe you're not going to consume, they'll take that and they make meals from it. So there's
oh,
like people that are saying don't waste the food, like stop doing that,
right,
stop throwing stuff in the garbage because this might be a month or two past the expiration date. That stuff is still usable. Those things are suggested dates for the most part. So there
right.
are other avenues to get rid of the produce. But my most favorite thing is to give it away. There we do have opportunity as well to sell at Easter Market. We have a table called Grown in Detroit. And at that table, all of the farmers who have had their soil tested and all of that, they can actually sell whatever they want. I can go there with a little handful of herbs and they will put it on the table and sell them. So it's like a
Nice.
collaborative. Yeah, it's like a collaborative effort.
What are
I
they
used
testing the soil for? When you say test the
Oh
soil?
yeah, so that's probably the number one thing, especially in our area, that everyone should do if you're doing what they call in-ground growing. That means in the ground that you have at home. You
okay.
want to test your soil first before you plant anything. I mean, a lot of people do it and then they test the soil after, but you really want to do it to make sure there's no contaminants in the soil that
Okay.
might be harmful for that plant to uptake and then for you to consume. So
Oh,
that's a very
interesting.
important step. And then with our program, we keep going Detroit. And I'm talking about them, but I don't even work for them now. I actually work for them for a little tiny bit, but the program is excellent because for a very small amount for membership, they actually test a soil. They do one soil test per year, and the community garden membership is $30. And they still test your soil, so it's worth it because most soil tests are like $50 to $60. So it's worth it to get your soil tested just so you know there's no lead, arsenic. We have a lot of industry in our area. So you just want to make sure that what you're consuming is not going to be harmful for you when you're trying to,
Oh
be
goodness
healthy.
gracious. Sheila.
I was just making reference to when she said how she give her stuff away. I would have coworkers who kind of live far out, and they will always bring all types of stuff and
Yeah.
be like, "Please take it, first come first stuff, because there's nothing I could do with it." And I remember
Hmm.
one time this guy saying, "Why is this squash so big? Like this is abnormal." And so I never forget this guy saying, "You never thought about maybe the ones in the grocery store were abnormal?" And then
There
I
you
never
go.
forgot that. And I had to be like in my 20s when he said that. And I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, because we grew this straight from the ground. Like, you
Right.
don't know what you're getting.
Yes.
And that's the truth.
And that is very much the truth. As you see, we have food recalls very
All the
often
time.
Wow.
especially,
because,
especially with lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
especially with lettuce.
That's
Yeah.
scary. Okay, so because goodness, it's already 30 minutes in and we have to keep it under an hour. We may
Okay.
have to come because I do want to talk about organic versus buying organic
Yes.
versus
Versus
something
conversion,
different. But before we
conventional.
do
Yeah.
there, I want to engage with our
Audience.
Oh
people that are
yeah.
looking.
I didn't. Oh, that's right.
Yep. So Everett is
Everett.
saying that he has a garden and the veggies and fruits taste better from the garden. I'm sure that they do. And Doris is saying that how do you keep the rabbits and other animals out of the
Mm,
garden? So if you look further down, Everett answered that for her. But do you have a problem with that? Because I didn't see any fences around
yeah.
your.
So here, luckily here in my home garden, I don't. Well, we do have rabbits. I mean, rabbits gonna get in where they where they can fit in, but we do have a dog, so that helps to keep some of the little critters away. But we do have a fence around our yard, and that helps as well. But I do have a community garden space at Palmer Park. And so
Okay.
anyone who knows familiar with Palmer Parks, we is all the woods is there. We have deer, we have squirrels, rabbits, birds, all kind of creatures. So what I ended up doing, because after I was there the first year, one day from one day to the next, the deer ate up almost everything in my bed. And I was like,
Did you
oh my
cry?
God, I was so sad. It was gone. I mean, they nibble almost all the way to the ground.
They go down to the dirt.
They do, and I was so hurt because everything had been growing so well, and it literally was from one day to the next. So the very next year, I said, "I'm not doing this again. Like, well, I'm not doing all this work for y'all to eat." Even though part
Mhm.
of what we do feed the wildlife as well. It's just part for the course. But I ended up building these cages around my garden bed, and then the cages, it really, I just went on YouTube and just started looking at people's different designs they made out of PVC. I went to got PVC, some of those corner joints. I made like a basically a square from them, and then I put deer netting around them. So deer netting tends to be irritating to them, so as soon as they touch it, they don't want to go any further. So that has helped me because I haven't had any issues since then. So you have to do something like protect their garden area. And then there are other things like, I think someone was mentioning before that you can plant different types of crops sometimes for them, and then they might leave your good stuff alone. And then there's also, I mean, they do recommend doing things like really strong, like Irish Spring soap, putting it on sticks around there.
I
I
saw that. I
just
saw
read
that
that in the
TikTok.
girls'
Yeah.
garden group.
Yeah, it
And
Yes.
has
I
to
was
be a really strong scented soap, and then also human hair. So if you know someone who cuts hair on a normal basis, you can have them sweep it up in the bag, and you sprinkle that around the garden bed. Any
stop
kind of
it. Are you
yeah.
serious?
And then the last one that most people don't like to do is they use some kind of animal pee, like coyote pee. It's
Yeah.
really very strong, and
No,
they
I use coyote pee
yeah,
in my flower beds. I'm not sure
yeah,
about if I have food growing, but I
You
guess
just go
people
buy
right,
do.
it. It's just called
yeah,
Yeah.
coyote tea.
Yeah,
yeah,
Really?
you buy it and it
yeah.
does work.
And it does work. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's different ways, but for me, the cage and the I've used this cage, the soap, and the human hair, and that has worked for my bed.
Wow. Okay. So I hope that helps you, Doris. Doris is Keela's mom. Okay,
Okay.
so Everett, thank you so much for jumping in
Yes.
and answering some of these questions because he's a gardener too.
All right.
But Aaron is asking, would you suggest that I resoil my garden because I'm not sure why my crops don't grow well?
Okay. If it depends, are they growing? So they're growing in ground. You always want to add organic compost wherever you're growing. So if you're just growing in your normal soil that maybe you remove the grass, that's not going to have enough nutrients in it to really sustain the garden that you want. You have to add that by putting in organic compost. And what I mean by that is not miracle grow. Please do not use chemicals or pesticides. You want to, when you get those bags, sometimes I get soil dumped and I go and get it. So it's like not bags. But if you do go to get the bags at any of the nurseries or Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever, you want to look at the ingredients and you want to be able to pronounce them. That's so key. If you can read them and you know what they're saying, that's a organic compost. And you want to have a small amount of ingredients. Usually it's like anywhere between 4 to maybe 8 different things. It depends on which organic compost you get, but just get an organic compost, do a nice layer on top of your soil, and then you want to plant. And then throughout the season, you might want to add some compost around your plants, maybe 2 to 3 times throughout the season, so that they can get more nutrients. Now, eventually, you'll build your soil up to the point where you won't have to add as much compost to it. It'll attract all of the worms and stuff that you need to keep it rich.
Oh,
But
see, that's
that's
what I'm
important.
saying, Angela. So that's what I'm
Did she
saying.
say worms?
Worm, yeah, because the soil is gonna naturally attract the worms, and
Hmm.
especially if the soil is moist.
You
Is
need worms. I'm telling
you
you, worms,
do
yes, they make your soil much more healthier. And the
do
healthier your
they eat?
soil,
Do they like the grubs?
no, there's not like grubs. No. Do you mean do they like them like
Yeah,
beetles?
like how do people get rid of grubs?
Oh, you just have to get pick them out and just toss them in
Oh,
the yeah.
Angela, now you're giving me more
See?
work. Oh,
Yeah.
gee.
Yeah.
She then
And
muted herself.
but it but if you have, I mean, but again, if you have really good, rich organic soil, you don't have as many grubs and bad bugs in it. That's the beauty of it, is that
Okay, okay.
it kind of gets rid of that problem. But if usually grubs are mostly in grass. If you notice, if you remove grass,
Yeah,
you'll
so
see
I
a lot of
was
grubs,
digging some flowers up and found a grub. I had never seen one up close in
and it's
person,
ugly,
and
right?
they are so ugly. I almost passed out, and I was done for that day.
Yes,
And
I
then I
know,
went back.
I
So
know.
Crystal's saying that she's scared of worms. I don't blame you, Crystal.
Yeah,
But Everett is saying if you have worms, then I mean you have good soil.
absolutely. I mean, really, the bottom line is this: if there are no bugs eating your food that you're growing, that means you shouldn't be eating it either. I mean, that's just the truth.
Right, that's
If no
real.
one else
That's
is
real.
eating, and that's why when you commercial farms, where they're really destroying our, well, now we talking about climate, they're destroying our planet with these huge, large commercial farms and the stuff that they're doing, because that's not normal to not have any bugs. It's not normal. And we're doing actually a disservice to ourselves, to our planet, by doing that kind of growing. And so that we have to get back into doing more of what we're doing around here, and that's the small urban farms, the community gardens, the backyard gardens. It's going to become even more crucial. I mean, I think everybody goes to the store, right? You all see the especially the produce prices; those
And
are astronomical. So
it's so sad because things are have become so government regulated, because I
yeah,
know people who
yeah.
have wanted to start and actually had to have some of their things shut down because,
Mm.
and so I don't want to say it's a scary thing, because what you grow in your backyard, you grow, but
Hmm.
just like some people who want to still have their own chickens and
Yes,
have their own, they're like, nope, you can't
I
do it,
know, and
and
that
it's
is a
almost
problem.
feel like you living in some type of a, I don't know the right word to say, but it's crazy. It's crazy.
They
Yeah,
try
and
to
this
regulate
a
everything.
lot of
Right.
people, yeah, a lot of people in our garden program do have animals as well as part of their gardens and farms, and they do have those battles. They get ordinance violations and all that, but there are ways to get some things approved. But you have to, if you have your neighbors kind of like supporting you, you have less of an issue with that. It's when you have neighbors who report you that you have an issue with that. And that's unfortunate, because I'm telling you, I saw it even during this whole pandemic thing, when, remember, they were giving those boxes away and all that. But there will be a time when people like what we do here with growing our food in our yards and community gardens, it's going to become vital and important. And people are going to be knocking on your door saying, do you have something I can eat?
I
No, the
believe
time the
that.
time for that is not when
I
it's an
believe that.
emergency. You need to learn to grow something now before it becomes to the point where you're gonna have to know to grow
Yep, you're
something.
gonna have to
Oh,
learn it.
Angie, you
And this
making
is
me
the
nervous.
but no, I truly believe what she's saying, and we're
Hmm.
we're almost lightweight there. When you really look at the way things are
Yes,
going in a grocery store and
yes.
the way things are, people are getting more
Because
involved. It's
right, but think about it this way: how do things get here from the grocery store?
the
Farmers through people like you.
transport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logistics, transportation,
Like,
Yes.
trucks.
Yep.
hmm
Think about the gas prices right now.
Yep.
Some of those trucks ain't coming.
They not. That's why when you
Some of
go to
those
the grocery
some of those
store,
planes some of those planes are not coming anymore.
yep,
Think about that. And see, we so used to being able to go to the store and getting anything we
at
want any time of the
conveniently.
year. But in a minute, it's gonna be a time when you go and it's gonna be nothing there to
But
get.
it's kind of almost
That's
there
true.
now, Angela,
It
because you
is
go to
now.
Kroger. Like, I thought y'all delivery date was on Tuesday.
Right.
What
Yep.
happened?
They did
Looked
Yeah.
not
like
get
an
that delivery.
apocalypse been through
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. And not
So
only that, we kind of calculate every time we get in the car.
oh, absolutely.
Because my
Yeah.
little truck, how much it costs to
Yes.
fill it up, it's like,
Yes.
now do I really need to go
So
there?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
And so,
now the key is now not just growing during this time of the year when we can grow. Now we got to figure out, well, how do we do growing when we can't grow outside during the winter? That's what we have to start to think about now, and that's why indoor growing is going to become more important as well. Like for people that have those aquaponic grow
Right.
operations. Again, if you're starving, even those microgreens that they grow in those aquaponics can at least keep you alive. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So we
Exactly.
have to really start thinking about
Oh,
all of that.
child. Angela, we need a part two.
We do because it's like
Because we
44
not
minutes
touching the
in.
surface of some
Yeah.
other
No,
things that we're kind of want to venture off into. This
so
Yeah.
is
many because
Food
we still get
food
to
is
talk.
a whole, I mean, a whole day conversation, because when you think about it, what do we need to survive? We need water, so we need clean water, right? We need water to drink, we need food to eat, and we
right.
typically need shelter. I mean,
Right.
those three things, if we don't have that, we in trouble. We're in trouble.
We are. Okay, Angie, definitely doing a part two. So we have to look at some dates in August. Aaron is asking, do you teach a class or can you recommend one?
If you're in the Detroit area, I'm not sure what area you're in, or anywhere you are, try to find out what gardening program is near you. We do have one called Keep Growing Detroit. There are a lot of urban farms that take volunteers. You learn the most by just volunteering at a community garden, being in the space. People are always sharing information. So you don't necessarily have to take a class, but we do have a lot of courses and classes in this area through all of the urban farms.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then before we talk about Planet Detroit, Doris is saying that they had their soil tested and it came back
Hmm.
with a high pH number. Is
Okay.
that
Yeah.
something we would use a compost for?
Yep. What you would want to do, yeah, you compost can be used for anything, but a high pH does not necessarily mean it's bad soil. It just means that you just got to even that out, because most vegetables they wanted like a kind of average pH to be able to grow well. But that doesn't mean, definitely the high pH is not a problem. What you want to take a look at and make sure that it's not an issue is if you have lead or any other like chemicals or anything in the soil that are damaging to you. But no, high pH would not be a problem.
Okay. Okay. So now I'm just all off into August trying to figure out when you could come back because we still want to talk about organic versus regular. But now your other passion,
Oh yeah.
because
So
Planet Detroit. You're like a
yes.
community engagement director for Planet Detroit. What exactly is that? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so briefly, I mean, it's really fascinating how sometimes things kind of fall in your lap. But a few months ago, well, actually more than a few months ago, I started to see this, job listing. Now, mind you, I hadn't worked in a while because as life happens, I was taking care of everybody else, and so I
Hmm.
wasn't working. But I wanted to try to get my feet wet in it, but it had to be in something that just felt like it wasn't work. You know what I'm saying? It had to be something that I was passionate about, that I was already kind of entrenched in. And so I saw the job posting. I was like, no, they would never pick me. Like in my mind, how you have that thought of it's not for me. I did never even considered applying, and then someone that I know was like, "You should think about doing this because you kind of already do this." And so I was like, I should. And I love the publication. So it's an online digital publication, and believe it or not, they just started kind of in 2019, so right before the pandemic hit. And I thought they had been around for a while, but I've been a fan since then because it's really all about the environment in our area. So anything to do with water, air quality, public health, food. We talk about farms, park space, green space. I mean, anything that has to do with the environment, even bird watching. I mean, anything to do with it, they cover. And it's kind of it's becoming like a hub to kind of get all the information, even from other publications, and put it into one so that you can do, like, there's a lot of students who do research, on all these topics. So they be able to gather information. But in another way, the reason they wanted to hire someone like me to be a community engagement is because they're planning Detroit, but there's a misconception out there that black people don't care about the environment like white people. I mean, it's just the truth. People think that because we're not as engaged in it as other people. Like when I go to stuff even now, I'm like, this is in Detroit, but all the people there are white. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, we need to get the word out to our community that this publication exists, that they can also tell some of their own personal stories, because there's a lot happening in our neighborhoods all around this area that are really all about environment. I mean, I don't know if you all have kept up with things that are going on the east side with that new factory that is really polluting the air over there, and those people are getting sick. So again, these are people who have lived in that community for decades, who now cannot even walk out their front door without wanting to, throw up. Like literally, this is happening. There's another factory near Hamtramck, near Detroit border, that is also very toxic, that's releasing these fumes in the air, just like Marathon has done for decades in Southwest Detroit. So it's really a publication that wants to tell the people that they're there, that they're here to tell their stories, but also to inform them, and also to maybe come up with a solution. So even though they're independent, so you know how you have the free press, the news, you have these media sources who for decades, I always say they've been bought and sold. They pretty much are being told what to report and all that. These independent publications like Planet Detroit, they can tell stories in a more balanced way, because no matter who funds them, they're going to tell the truth. They're not going to try to sugarcoat things and make it sound better for the corporation, or make it sound like it's horrible, horrible for the residents. They're going to take both sides, put it together, and try to come up with a solution of what can we do, either in the legislative arena, or as a community, to rally against things like that northwest side neighborhood by Rosedale Park, who recently they got together, the city was behind them. There was an asphalt plant that wanted to set up shop in their backyard. They fought against it, and they were able to fight that plant. And then that you talking, they got millions of dollars. They got attorneys, like 10, 12 attorneys that show up in court, and they were able to come together and fight so that that company could not pollute their community like they wanted to.
Wow. So Aaron is saying you are so correct. News and free press are owned by companies that dictate what's printed. And
Yeah.
so basically Planet Detroit goes against you. You speak for the people.
Yeah, pretty much. And a lot of the smaller publications that have recently kind of popped up in the last 3 to 5 years here, they are doing the same kind of work. For a long time it was only like Metro Times, and now it's like Bridge Detroit and Outlier Media, and these are people that are from the community. A lot of them, Riverwise is another publication. They really are truly community based, and that is the difference. They're not going to just tell the story that sounds good because their person is saying, hey, you can't make us look bad. They're going to tell the truth and try to find a solution to it.
So basically you guys are like Aaron Brockovich on
Yeah.
steroids.
Right.
That's
And
what
that
I'm
could be
hearing,
part
Aaron.
of it too, because I
Mhm.
mean, there, like, really, I mean, think about what happened in Flint. I mean, that's all. If we think about what happened in Flint, and how so many people were trying to sound the alarm, and no one was giving them the time of
No,
day. I mean, it took that doctor. I mean, think about how much they had to do to finally get the attention. I mean, think about those photos of those politicians, with the water. Remember that photo? They were like, "Oh, the water's fine," and drink, and then come to find out,
And it's
and
still not
it's still not fixed.
yeah,
still not fixed.
And now
no,
Benton Harbor is the hot pocket. Now, mind you, most of these communities are communities of color.
Yep.
That's where you have the issues. Even Highland Park, we have high lead here. So again, it's like we have to stand up to this. We cannot continue to let them use our communities to do whatever they want and have no no no. They get
no
nothing. I mean, literally
ramifications.
nothing happens to them.
No ramifications,
Nothing
yeah.
happens to
Hmm.
them. And I'm like, they make millions of dollars doing what they're doing, and they can just get away with it.
So what's the latest project that you've been engaged in as a community engagement officer?
So I've been really just getting out into the community. So part of my role, I get to go to really wonderful, groundbreaking events of projects that are being done. I recently went to one on Friday that was at Sacred Heart Church, which is over there by Easter Market. They actually completed a stormwater management project in 2019, but of course, in the pandemic, put that on hold for the celebration, and they finally had it on Friday. And it is going to be a pilot, basically an example to other projects of what they can do to manage stormwater. Because as you saw last year, during this weekend, last year was that flood that we had in Detroit that completely devastated the east side and other communities. And so they're just coming up with different ways to capture the storm water by doing rain gardens, by doing wells, swales, by cutting. I mean, it was like fascinating because they have the parking lot, they actually have cuts in the parking lot so that the water can funnel into the rain garden. So doing different things like that that can hopefully improve our environment so that we won't have this catastrophic flooding that we've been having for the last few years here in Detroit.
And even with some of the rainwater, some of those are being regulated in areas. They don't want you to
Yes.
capture the rain
Catch
to use
yeah.
the
Luckily,
rainwater.
Are you
that has to happen.
serious?
Yeah, that
Yes.
hasn't happened here. Yes.
Yes, thank
But other
God.
yeah, yes, there's other states and
Yeah,
other cities that have
they're not
actually
allowed to.
banned water catchment systems, which is
Yes.
so
They
crazy to
cannot,
me.
they're not allowed to catch the rainwater for
Yeah.
free.
The
They
rain
have,
that's
Yeah.
falling from the
That's
sky.
falling from the sky. Yeah, and
yep,
which, by the way, is best to water your garden with. It's actually better than anything you can take out of
right.
the house.
Yep.
So yeah,
That's
I know
crazy.
it's so crazy. But yeah, so I'm out there just, I go to block club meetings, I go to do community events, I'm going to farmers markets. So just really getting the word out about the publication because it's still kind of new and a lot of people here just don't know that it exists. So, that's mainly my goal. And then, maybe next year it'll be something different. But I go to philanthropy events and just try to represent Planet Detroit wherever I can.
Okay, so look for Angie with Planet Detroit. So if they have any issues or concerns about the community, then they can reach out to you and you can go check
Yes.
it out and you can get it out there.
Yep, and the plan is planetdetroit.org, and you can sign up. There's a free weekly newsletter that you can sign up for, and then all of the staff people are also on there, and there's ways to contact all of us there.
Okay, well, we thank you, Angie. Oh my goodness,
Yes.
this conversation, I can't believe we have to end in an hour so we can like publish it on different sites. Keela, you're
Yes.
muted. You're muted, Keela. Are you talking to us?
I was. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting.
I
I keep
was like, wait,
forgetting.
now she talking to us. She like talking over me because I'm talking and she all expressive.
I know. I'm like, yes, we definitely have to have a part two because we, like Tanya said, we have to get over into the organic side. I do buy organic, but how much organic is it organic when it's still
Right.
regulated by certain things? So I would love to
Exactly.
talk about that when you come back.
Yeah, that's a
Please
whole conversation.
make some
Yeah.
time for us, Angie.
Yeah.
Because now it's three things. We need to go back to gardening.
Yeah.
In August, we need to talk about Planet Detroit again. And I'm just
Yes.
I know we could probably research this rainwater thing, but that really
Oh
boggles me
yes, I
that they
know
trying
it's
to regulate what's coming from the
they.
sky.
Yes, they really
And that's
are.
been a thing, Tanya.
That's been a
That's been
thing.
a
Yeah,
thing. Like
for a
that's been a
minute.
thing for
Yeah.
years.
And actually,
Yeah.
well, I was paying attention because I was like, "Are they going to? They're going to bring that here? Because that would
Right.
mess up a bunch of us. Because that's how we water our garden a lot of times."
And
Okay,
and we didn't touch on this, and Angela probably, if Tanya take on her notes, I know some people in the garden group that I was in were talking about moonlighting for certain gardens and stuff, using the moonlight or something.
Oh yeah,
They were
there's a
trying to
moon cycle.
regulate they were trying to regulate that, and it's just crazy. All the natural resources they want to
They
regulate,
want to
you
try
know.
to control. Yeah, and
anytime the rich
it's all
people
about the
figure they can
money.
make some more money,
That's
they want to
it.
Oh,
do it.
that's
That's
exactly
it.
what it boils down
That's
to.
it.
So
Ooh,
Tanya,
wait.
really quick, because we give throw out a
You
challenge right
know,
quick.
yeah, so okay, plant something. Angie didn't get
Yes.
into container planting, but what's
Hmm.
Angie, real quick, what's something if you want to challenge the people to plant something
Yeah.
like
So
tomorrow,
so
what
when
can
I
they do
teach
real
my
quick?
class, when I teach my garden class, people are always kind of nervous about being new, or not new. If you don't plant nothing else, plant some herbs. That's like the
Okay.
simplest thing
Okay.
you can do.
I actually have an
Fi-
herb thing.
figure out what herbs you like,
Okay.
and just plant. Do a container, like it don't have to be nothing big. I'll show you a little container. It be that
Okay.
size.
Girl,
You
that's
know what I'm
big.
saying?
Angie,
For you,
It's
Tanya. I
This is what
actually
you
have
need.
I actually have one that I could grow for on my counter. Somebody gave me, but then I
Yes.
was like, well, bugs naturally gravitate to it, so I never put it
Not
out.
indoor. I mean, it
Okay.
depends, but indoor is not going to get the same. But grow herbs because herbs can be used in everything.
Okay.
It can
Okay,
be
so
used
that's
in
the
anything you
challenge.
cook. It can you be even used in some drinks. You put a little herb in.
I saw your
Again,
tea. I saw some
yes,
tea that you
the,
posted that you said
yes,
was
the
so good.
chamomile, mint, is so much. So
Okay.
Okay, so
grow
45
herbs.
seconds. Grow, get some herbs. Check out our website. That's the challenge. And we thank you so
Uh-oh.
much for being here. .org,
Yes.
or is it .com?
Wait,
Did you get it, Key Liz?
Planet Detroit.
planetdetroit.org.
Okay. Get yourself on that mailing list. Speak out about things that's going on in your community. That's like
And
another
keep up
thing.
with things. Keep
And
up
keep
with
up with
things.
it. Because they're
Yeah,
not about to capitalize on some rainwater.
I'm telling
They're not
you.
about to own a piece of the sky. Not
I
here,
know
they
that's
not. No, they
Yes.
right.
not. They got 3 errors on the case now.
So,
3 error
Right.
brackets. No, they're
Cicely,
not.
try the garlic.
Okay.
Try the garlic, Cicely.
Yes.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
Okay.
and the
So we
garlic
gotta go.
scapes. Get some
Okay.
garlic scapes from the farmers market.
Get some
All
garlic.
right. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Adios.